All right, day 3, Bart. So checking out the model sheet, you can see that we were, given all of these little cool ideas of how to draw him, right? And in here especially is what I wanted to show you guys, how we construct the characters. I did it with Homer. I don't think I did it so much with Marge, but I want to show you guys how to construct them. So it kind of looks like this. So like a soda can, if you think of Bart's head. Yeah, cylinder, right? And so we're going to start with that. And here we go. Okay. So I'm using a pencil now, so feel free to use whatever you want, but big cylinder shape. And then at the neck, I'm going to draw another little cylinder shape that kind of tapers inward. So these two basic cylindrical shapes. And you can see how loose I'm doing these. I'll do one with the Sharpie next for you Sharpie fans out there. Okay, so kind of like right in the middle of this cylinder is the eye. And it's kind of, yeah, the middle from the top and the middle from the sides, right? And then the other eye, just like we did for the first two videos, overlaps, kind of comes outside of the cylinder shape here. So if you are using a pencil, you can then erase that part out, but don't worry. If you use pen, don't worry about it. You can always draw it again. We had to draw these characters sometimes, well, tens of times a day, but hundreds of times a week. It was a lot of drawing. A lot of carpal tunnel and tendonitis wrist issues with the animators. It was intense. Okay, so now with the nose, I'm gonna remember the eyes bisect the nose. That's pretty much standard with all the characters, unless, a character like Mr. Burns or Skinner. They have different kinds of noses. Okay, then we get in our pupils, our big wall-eyed. There we go. And so being this loose just allows me to kind of find the curves that I want. You can see I'm even drawing pretty big here. Got the smile right here. So for the ear, we would kind of draw an eye line across as a guide. So we're basically constructing these drawings with all of these guides on there. We have a center line, right? We would draw an eye line to the side of the head where we would have the ear. So everything was mapped out. This is why these characters, they look easy to draw. They look simple, but they are quite difficult to get right. Okay, so now we're going to do the spikes. Oh, before we do the spikes, get a little bump there. All the characters have a little bump, little brow. And then, okay, so for the spikes, I always ask people, how many spikes does Bart have? And people are like, I don't know, did you guys just make them up? I'm like, no, he had a specific number of spikes all the time. And if you didn't draw them that way, you were fired. No, you just had to redo the drawing, or someone else would redo it for you. So how we would figure out his 9 spikes, he's got 9 spikes, is we would draw 2 at each end. We would put 1 right in the middle. We would put 1 in between those 3. And then we would fill in the gaps. So if you need to rewind to watch that, it's a very systematic way to get 9 spikes in there. And they all had to be pretty much the same size, right? Equidistant, same size. So again, very mathematical. Okay, I'm going to put in a little bump for his lip. And then cut him off at the neck there. We're not really doing bodies yet. We're just doing the head just to keep it simple. But you wanted just to add in a little upper body indication right here. You can do that. All right, so that's Bart. I'm just gonna now darken it in. So this is something we wouldn't do on the show. You know, it was all kept in pencil. A lot of times we use color pencils and then we would darken it with just a regular dark pencil. Okay, so with the circle, right? So I'm gonna show you guys a little trick, a drawing trick. So in drawing a circle, you don't wanna draw with your hand up like this. You wanna anchor your palm on the surface. So you can call it anchoring. A lot of times we were gliding on the paper. We needed an anchor point, a pivot point, right? So even before I start drawing this circle, I want to make sure I can mimic the circle before I even put any line down. And what I'm doing is, again, I'm just anchoring here. It's like a pivot point. So use your hand, use your body to really get into position to draw the thing that you want to draw. So I'm going to start here. Boom. And I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to mimic the line before I draw it, just to make sure I'm in the right position, and then I draw it. This is a great drawing technique. Okay, the nose. Even little things like the nose, notice that little subtle little curve there, and then it comes down and it goes straight. These were things that we just had to kind of get memorized, and if we didn't do it, we were scolded by Matt Groening himself. No, I'm kidding, because he didn't draw that great. You can quote me on that. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly get these in there. And you know, once you have that line drawing down and you have it constructed, it's really fun to ink it because you're confident in the scaffolding, as it were, underneath. Okay, so after this, I'm going to do a little bonus. So if you drew Bart, great, and you can stop now. But if you want to draw Bart Man, which is essentially, it's just Bart, but with a mask on, and it's very easy to draw. I'm just going to do that right now with you guys. Stay tuned for Bart Man. Okay. So that drawing was looking that way. I'm going to make this one look that way. Okay. And again, I'm just going to be super loose. You can get the looseness of a drawing very quickly, just like so, right? So cylinder for the head. I'm going to draw him with his mouth open now. And yes, there are more rules in drawing the characters with their mouths open. Okay. Just for sake of time. Okay, get the eye in the middle. Get the other eye. The eyes bisect the nose, as always. And then with the mouth open, I'm going to make it real big. Maybe show some teeth. So when the mouth opens and it kind of breaks the cylinders, if you will, it kind of pushes out like so. Creates a big shape like this. If this is a bit complex, don't worry about it. It's again, these aren't simple characters. Get the ear in there. Okay, so now with the teeth are kind of like Marge's bumps of her hair. So like 4 or 5 teeth, depending on how big his mouth is. You might need to watch this video a few times. Don't worry about it. I think when people see this challenge, they're like, that's not really a challenge. It's Simpsons. It's simple. But I think some of you guys are starting to realize that these are not simple to draw. Okay. So, same with the spikes. Remember, we have 2 on the outside, 1 right in the middle. 2 in the middle of those, and then we fill in the gaps. Okay, so with Bartman, it's pretty simple. He just has this mask that kind of comes down here, and then it goes to his ear. And I can give him a little edgy kind of look there, like he's cool. He's Bartman. Watch out. See, just the subtle line of kind of pushing it and then doing the little brow here makes a huge difference. Okay, so now with the mouth open, if you look right here, we kind of have 2 little inner bumps. They're going inward, right? And then his lower lip. And then when a mouth is open, we always have a tongue in there. Okay, so you usually get the gist of Bartman with his cape on, but I'm just going to loosely draw in kind of like a tied cape element, and you know, it's as if he's flying. So and again, we're just really doing heads in this beginning part of the challenge, but if you guys really want to see more body stuff, just let me know. Now we can darken in the mouth, right? And this basically told the people in South Korea who were cleaning these drawings up and then coloring them that this was going to be dark. Okay. All right, I'm going to ink it and then we can call it done. So again, find your place of anchoring whenever you're inking or really drawing in general. It's like you're using your hand as a compass, as the needle of a compass. You know, this part of the hand. It's very difficult to draw with your hand kind of floating up, unless you're using your arm, which is a totally different technique. Get this. It's got that crazy look in there. Again, with the 2 spikes on the outside, 1 in the middle, and if you have it sketched in, you can just ink over what you've already done. And so his mask is purple, so if you guys have any colored pencils, some of you guys are already coloring. So with the teeth, they kind of do this little overlap thing as well. So yeah, there was a lot of things to be mindful of with these characters. And in general, it took everyone. I didn't care how good you were as an artist coming in, because we had a lot of Disney artists coming in. It took everyone about a full season to get the style of the show down. You know, almost a year, which sounds crazy. All right, and there's Bartman. And we are done today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know this video went a little long, but I look forward to seeing your Barts. All right, see you tomorrow with Lisa.